The Last of Us, Season 1, Episode 6, titled Kin. And this episode is fantastic. Absolutely amazing episode. Even though I wasn't crazy about maybe the first 10 minutes. And I think just because I know what this episode is, I'm like, okay, so this is the one with Jacksonville. This is the one with Tommy. This is the one where we might have the You Don't Know What Lost Is, which I will talk about. I will talk about that scene. I might hell just like, here's the video game version for all those people who just saw that scene for the first time in the show. But I think because of it, I'm not eager, not getting impatient, but just in that sense of, even though the campfire scene's great, where you have like Ellie reflecting what happened last week with Henry and Sam, and the question of asking Joel, hey, so after you delivered me to the Fireflies, what's your plans now? And he's like, I don't know, honestly. Even though that's a good scene. You know what? You have good scenes, and then the West are great. So the good scenes feel a little bit dragging off at the beginning, and then when it becomes great with the Jacksonville stuff, it's until the end. That's probably it. Good scenes, and then you have great scenes and brilliant scenes and captivating scenes out through. And this is the episode where like Ellie finds out about Sarah, and then this is the episode where certain beats happen, and I just was digging the whole thing. Now Jacksonville, if people don't know who don't play the games, it's like Bill's Town, but there's more people. It's a town full of people who were able to somehow find and build a regular life. They were able to build a regular life. And it's just, and for me, who has played part 2 as well, I was like, that's Jacksonville. Hey, that's, probably, because in part 2 you play as Ellie, mostly. Yeah, I'm like, hey, me as Ellie, I walked around that and packed the dog, or told that one backwards guy to fuck off and all that type of thing. I was like, hey, it's the shed with Dana and Ellie, share that kiss. But, which oddly enough, I think we saw Dana in this episode, but like she didn't say anything, and she's only in there for 5-10 seconds of like that like, I don't know, girl who's roughly the same age as Ellie, just hiding behind like behind a pillar in the cafe. I was like, that's Dana. That's Dana 100%. It feels like, now naturally, part 2 was about to come out when the moment they announced that there was going to be a HBO series, a TV show of this story. So, and Neil Druckmann, who's the creator of the wide director of both games, your head's thinking, well, he knew about Dana, so Dana will show up. It's going to be one of those situations, I think, of seeing connections to part 1, part 2 happening in the adaptation of the first game, because when the first game came out, they didn't know that there was going to be a part 2. They didn't know how big and successful this game was going to be. So I was like, hey, that's Dana over there. I was like, hey, it's going to neat. But the big thing for me, the big performance, the great performance of this is Pedro Pascal, Joel, and having this kind of journey that's in the game, but is very more effective and hell a lot better in this show. And that is showing the loss. Because if you think about it, Joel kind of is like, Tommy, can you do the rest of the job for me. Deliver her to the Fireflies because I don't want to feel the loss. That's it. Well, this one, and I think the idea is that, hey, you as the player feel that connection with Ellie because you are Joel in the game, and so it's that thing of like you're feeling that connection. So naturally, Ellie, so when Joel's like saying, Tommy, finished the rest of the job for me, delivering her to the Fireflies, I think that's how it gets more effective. While in the show, you need to show that Joel cares for Ellie. And he does, and that terrifies him because he's worried that 2.0 is going to happen with Sarah. That Ellie is just going to get died. Ellie is just going to get killed, or he's too old, or he dies and then she has no one. Spoiler for season 2. But it's just his performance is so beautifully done, even with a little bit of watery eyes, to the point when you have the...
Is this really all they had to worry about? Boys, movies, deciding which shirt goes with which skirt. It's bizarre.
Get up. We're leaving.
And if I say no?
Do you even realize what your life means? Huh? Running off like that, putting yourself at risk, it's pretty goddamn stupid.
Well, I guess we're both disappointed with each other then.
What do you want from me?
Admit that you wanted to get rid of me the whole time.
Tommy knows this area.
Oh,
better
fuck
than...
that.
Well, I'm sorry. I trust him better than I trust myself.
Stop with the bullshit. What are you so afraid of? That I'm gonna end up like Sam? I can't get infected. I can take care of myself.
How many close calls have we had?
Well, we seem to be doing all right so far.
And now you'll be doing even better with Tommy.
Not her, you know.
What?
Maria told me about Sarah.
Ellie?
And
You are treading on some mighty thin ice here.
I'm sorry about your daughter, Joel. But I have lost people too.
You have no idea what loss is.
Everyone I have cared for has either died or left me. Everyone fucking except for you. So don't tell me that I would be safer with someone else, because the truth is I would just be more scared.
You're right. You're not my daughter. And I sure as hell ain't your dad. And we are going our separate ways.
It's more effective. You feel the pain. You feel the bond between between those two characters, between Joel and Ellie. And I'm like, this is fantastic. Now, next week is Left Behind, which I would say, you lucky son of bitches who haven't played the game, because you never had to pay about X amount of dollars to experience the story. Actually, the first time me playing The Last of Us was remastered, and it kind of came along with it. So I don't know why I'm complaining for it. But anyway, Left Behind. And all I will say for all those people who bitch and moan and complain that, oh my god, episode 3 was focusing 2 gay characters. Oh no. Whoo! You're gonna be bitching next week, because, spoiler, Ellie's a gay character. And we're going to have some young romance happening in episode 7. And I don't give a shit if I spoil it, because if anyone has a fucking problem with it, can go fuck themselves, because they're nothing but a bunch of cousin humper, basin-dwelling losers who should take their head out of their ass and understand the world that we in the world live in. But it doesn't make sense why, as a zombie apocalypse, no one should care. It's like, well, that's the case, no one should ever have a relationship in a zombie apocalypse, would it, you fucking smart ass? Sorry, I get, but next week, Left Behind.